Surprisingly, Persona has a good amount of unexplained mysteries, and also cut content. In this video, we're going to be delving deep into the depths, starting with the Path of Quimernut. Original party member designs. Some characters got complete overhauls in design. Morgana looked very different. He's this tall creature. Furries would have ate that up in the worst way. Ann's clothes in the metaverse looked as if she were a spy. Seriously, why'd they change this? I despise Adachi's concept art. Luckily, we didn't end up getting this beta and got peak design instead. Haifumi Phantom Thief. This is referring to the original concept of adding another strategist type party member, Haifumi. This was scrapped due to the game's length, and the concept art was reused for a confidant. Yukiko was the killer. Persona 4 early in development had Yukiko as the killer. This idea was thrown out, however, due to a lack of motive and not wanting a betrayal in the game like this. I think this might explain why she lacks a lot of personality compared to everyone else, and she definitely could have committed that first murder. Sigh romance route. I'm gonna sound like such a beta talking about this. Pretty self-explanatory, but originally it was planned for Sai Nijima to have a romance route. There actually is unused dialogue proving this. With the story we have now, I'm not sure there'd be a good way to implement this. It also draws the line with the age gap. Like, this is just freaky at this point. FemC allegations. In Persona 3 Portable, you get the choice to play as a girl. This changes the romance routes from boys to girls. I mean, the other way around. Excluding Junpei, you can date Akihiko, Shinji, and Ken? Ken is 11 years old. How did they not see anything wrong with this? If you date both Ken and Akihiko, they both have an argument, and these interactions really ruin their characters for me. This is why I hate the FemC route. She is not beating the allegations. With the first layer done, next we move on to the Path of Chemda. Shido is Futaba's father. Futaba's father was mentioned in-game as never existing and not being there for her. They also do share the same blood type. Akechi gives us some insight about Shido's mannerisms as a father. As soon as Akechi's mother was pregnant, he left, which also aligns with Futaba. Wakaba was also working with Shido, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. Nanako in Persona 5. Discovered in the files, there's an older Nanako model, which is a crazy find. I have zero clue why this is in here. Maybe they were planning for some sort of Easter egg or confidant, but the model borrows animations from FemC. Persona 5 Reverse Confidants. In an earlier version of Persona 5, reverse confidants were implemented. You get asked a question and answer wrong or dishonest, and your confidant is reversed. It seems pretty hard to mess up these questions, but it is pretty brutal, so I see why they removed it. Faz has all the cut interactions up on their channel, so if you want to go see that, the link is in the description. Tatsuya is the Reaper. This theory calls out the striking design similarities to Tatsuya and the Reaper. They have a similar black trench coat, as well as both of them wearing bag masks and missing their right eye. MatPat's theory was wrong. In MatPat's Persona 4 theory, he claims that Teddy is Yu's shadow. This is very obviously disproven due to the fact that Yu's shadow appears in the show and spin-off games, which are confirmed canon. With the second layer done, next we move on to the third layer, Axariath. Ryuji in Persona 3. In P3, Yugo's confidant involved helping these kids win a track race against their rival school. One of these kids has a portrait that is strikingly similar to Ryuji. The same color as well. Persona 5 happened 6 years later, so this theory is entirely plausible. The reason his hair is black and not yellow is because Ryuji's natural hair color is black, and he dyes it yellow in Persona 5 for some unknown reason. Mouse Crow. Hidden in the files for Persona 5, a mouse model for Akechi went unused due to him not being in your party in Shido's palace. There might have been different plans beforehand, but maybe more enemies could have turned you into mice. Yosuke romance route. Yeah, you heard me right. Yosuke was originally dateable, but the devs removed it due to some unknown reason. It's fairly complete too, having unused dialogue in the files. This definitely would have helped his case. Yosuke is probably the most cancelled character in all of Persona for the infamous tent scene. It's a pretty cool find though. Unused Persona 5 main character. It seems very early in development. There were plans to have the protagonist be a woman. They didn't get very far with this concept as they only have some concept art and an untextured model left over. Scrapped early models and portraits. This explains itself. The portraits remind me of the Persona 5 animation style. I definitely prefer the final portraits because they look way more polished, but it's interesting to see the steps they took to finalize it. With the third layer out of the way, next we move on to the Path of Shiveruth. P4 on TV. In P5, the Persona 4 cast can appear on TV, seen being interviewed by talk show hosts. Naoto, Chie, Yukiko, Rise, and Adachi, the goat, being interviewed for hanging people off telephone poles. Secret Midnight Channel. Persona 4 Golden added a new menu feature that lets you view concept art and play in game shows. If you're on this menu at midnight, you'll get some weird secret dialogue from Teddy, a very odd out there secret. I'm not sure why this is here, but it's pretty cool. Lost Fusion cutscene. Persona 5 Beta had a different fusion cutscene that was much more graphic, involving more blood and different angles of the room. The one we got in the final game was straight to the point and is way more efficient. Persona screams. On the topic of Velvet Rooms, the beta included screams from the Persona as they were about to get executed. It's pretty gruesome stuff. Beta intro theme. Persona 5's intro was originally sung by Yumi Kawamura. It's really weird, but it actually sounds pretty good. The Path of Sheriff over, the Path of Dot is next. Reoccurring melody. I'm not talking about Aria of the Soul. There's this random bit of music that starts all the way from Persona 2 up to Persona 3 Reload. It could be a hidden Easter egg that Shoji Meguro put in, but I'm not sure if it has any meaning. I'll show you what I mean. The yellow means the leitmotif is playing. Gamma XP has a video covering this. I'll link it in the description. Ryuji abuse. Basically, after Shido's palace collapses and the team thinks Ryuji is dead, he comes back and, having worried everyone, they proceed to beat him up. It was pretty funny the first time I saw this scene, but I can definitely see why people got mad. The beta version of this cutscene has Ryuji getting absolutely comboed by the whole team. It's brutal. Backstories. There was a cut feature in Persona 5 Royal that activated a cutscene once you collected every will seed. It shows off the backstory of the palace ruler and how they got their corrupted desires from the start. I doubt having this feature would really flesh out the villains much, which is probably why they scrapped it. That's really all I have for these entries. If there was something important I missed, put it in the comments. This video was pretty taxing to make, so why don't you just hit that subscribe button? And I'll see you guys in the next one.